Howdy y'all. Some of y'all may be confused by the title, or some not because my first theory time is one of my least viewed videos. But in case you didn't know, I made a theory on Rivera and who she is already. Maybe watch that before watching this one if you haven't already. This is a Theory Time Remaster episode. That Rivera theory is a little bit outdated as I've found new evidence and more realistic possibilities. Although I still think most or at least half of the things in the original Rivera Theory Time are right, enough things are wrong or outdated for me to update it. Also, I listened to my voice in the Rivera Theory Time. Do I really sound like that much of a baby? Please tell me, because I want to know. Some things may not make sense if you don't watch the old one first, so please do that. Also, yes, I hear y'all. I'm getting to every single character someday. I know y'all have been begging for Jack Dad, and he was supposed to be next, but things are going very wrong with the script, and so I'm gonna have to trash it and rewrite it completely. And since this one was already done, I figured why not? It'd also be good for Rivera's birthday. If I get this video done on time, it should be today. Happy birthday, Rivera, best scientist. I'm excited for this one, especially since I got critique from Dart the Infiltrator, aka Grandfire1, aka a QA of Entry Point. No big deal, just got critique from Dart himself. They do an incredible job. Sashato is so skilled in building Entry Point and scripting it and just creating an awesome game. And the QAs are amazing with reaching out to the fans. It's incredible. Feedback from Dart is fantastic because, well, he knows Rivera's lore. I want to thank y'all so much, all of Freefall Softworks, and you watching this right now. It sounds cliche, but trust me, I really do appreciate it. Well, enough of that. Theory time. First, let's start by reviewing the summary of the first Rivera Theory Time. Quote from me, Rivera joined Halcyon but decided she was no fan of the illegal lifestyle. The director, not wanting her to leave, also likely mad that she wouldn't tell everything about her origins, beat and scared her into submission so she wouldn't leave. Just when she seemed trapped forever, an opportunity appeared that she certainly wasn't letting pass. Rose's call and death. She contacted Jackdaw and she soon was escorted to Phoenix. But in this context, rescued seems like a better word. End quote. My first objection is actually rather immediate. Rivera joined Halcyon but decided she was no fan of the illegal lifestyle. I've seen enough evidence to deem this statement false. First of all, when the freelancer asked why Rivera joined Halcyon, and the scientist, she responds with, quote, they wanted a consultant for their project. They took me to their bunker, end quote. It makes zero sense for them to offer a position to her immediately and then she accepts. No, that's not a Rivera move. Rivera is supposed to be an absolute genius, incredibly intelligent. She has everything already. A PhD, a good job. Why would she throw it all away for a worse criminal position? She wouldn't. Plus, it makes no sense for Halcyon to just ask that out of nowhere and hope she accepts. The average person would react by discreetly calling 911. So what happened? I say that Rivera was called to the bunker thinking she was on a normal consultant job, looked at their project, and then she was kidnapped. You understood me right. Rivera was a prisoner in Halcyon from the very start. They lured her to the bunker of the consultant job that they did want her to do, forever that is, and kidnapped her and forced her to help them on further projects, becoming very powerful and well-respected in Halcyon, but still a prisoner in a cell that she hated. We know she hated it because, she escaped and helped spoil their bunker location, playing an incredibly big part in Halcyon's downfall. And if all of that still doesn't convince you, Dart himself hints in this direction of the feedback he gave me. Quote from him, this is pretty great, Skylar. I do differ a bit on her time in Halcyon. It seems that Rivera was a brilliant genius but not a born criminal. As for wanting to leave Halcyon, it could be that she was blackmailed since literally everyone in Entry Point gets blackmailed at some point. End quote. He specifically points out that Rivera was no born criminal, making it appear that yes, Rivera was kidnapped and held captive until she was escaped. I'm going to let you hear a little more so we can work off that. Quote, it seems that Rivera was a brilliant genius but not a born criminal, so Halcyon could easily find out her past, that she probably didn't even keep hidden, but didn't find the need to report it in her file. This could also be the director covering up the Project Onyx to anyone who might use Rivera's file to gain more info on the project. Well damn, there goes the possibility of beatings. Such a shame. I really like that part of the theory, except for the fact that, it's a completely disgusting and cruel practice. Just kidding, bitches. Beatings are still on the table for poor Riv here. In Rivera's clothing description in the Entry Point catalog, it describes her as being incredibly confident and intelligent. It shows that Rivera is a headstrong person. Would such a person really take shit from the director and her captors? She seems like the kind of woman who would fight back and be unafraid of speaking her mind against the director, no matter what they did to her. Such protest and disobedience would result in punishments, aka beatings. Beating Rivera in an attempt to keep her in line and scare her into submission. Obviously, she couldn't just leave openly, she'd be killed for trying. If that sounds like a tad bit of a stretch, Dart once again adds to this, quote, after she began working on Project Onyx to prevent her and other workers from quitting, as physical beatings seem to reduce morale among researchers in Halcyon, but no one can tell when an operative is being psychologically trapped, end quote. There you have it. Dart outright says himself that beatings do indeed take place. Theory confirmed. Kind of. A chunk of it was confirmed. At least I think that's what Dart was trying to say. Maybe I'm just being dumb, because I did have a hard time understanding the sentences. I had to break them down first. Her working on the Onyx project confirms she knows some engineering too, because Project Onyx is a gun. Not only that, her computer and engineering skills would make her a technician. Remember the statement before about the director potentially leaving Rivera's file mostly blank to hide Project Onyx connections? I would love to add to that. If that were the case, then it's clear that the director isn't the only one that looks at these files. I mean, that was kind of obvious. Halcyon is supposed to be a worldwide organization. The director can't update the files on all his operatives all over the world by himself, especially since many operatives are going to be joining, dying, and leaving every day. Yes, everyone argues that Finch has only been to the US and Canada, but just because they've only been to 2 countries doesn't mean that other operatives haven't. They were only sent there because they were the most local places. If a mission needs to be done in Germany, then they'll send an operative from Germany. The only time Finch even left the country was for the SCRS, and it was very important because it held the coordinates to the Black Dust bunker and the denouement log file, and the fact that they were selected for the Black Dust makes it clear that they were one of Jackdaw's most trusted operatives, unlike in Halcyon, where he was unimportant enough for an attempted assassination. The point is, if the director was careful enough to throw away Jackdaw and the freelancer just to cover up Rivera's information, then what on earth is the deal with the Providence log file? Sorry, I know I'm talking so fast, it sounds like I'm rambling. In it, information is revealed that absolutely incriminates the director. He and Jackdaw have a conversation that shows that Jackdaw had killed 3 of the other directors for Kingfisher and was planning to take out the remaining 2. If the director truly was a very smart and careful devil, that transcript would have gone up in smoke years ago. But now I bring us to another line from Dart's comment, quote, I really like the part where you mentioned that Rivera was the one to tap the phone Rose had, and then followed up with Jackdaw to the fact, as it adds a sense of connection between events within the story, end quote. It hints that I was right about the wiretap. Since Rivera has a PhD in computer scientist, we have slight approval from a QA of Entry Point that it may be right. I don't think that file belongs to the director. It's Rivera's. She wiretapped it, she found it, all by herself, and she discovered another reason to get the hell out of there. Anyone could be backstabbed at any moment in Halcyon, because the director is the 100% of germs that Clorox wipes don't kill. Plus, it'd give her a reason for Jackdaw to trust her. I doubt she'd vent about everything to him, but if she told him she knew he was betrayed, he could definitely trust that she's defecting because she didn't want the same. Hence why he said in the scientist briefing, she's fleeing for protection. It's a reason he would absolutely have faith if she knew that much. The search which resulted in the Providence wiretap discovery also confirms that Rivera didn't just simply stumble upon the chance to leave and took it, although that's what happened. She was also actively working on escape before Rose's call, aka the Pyre log file / wiretap came up, which also very slightly supports my Rivera is a workaholic headcanon. She do be balancing work and treason though. I have one more thing to add to this theory that wasn't really in the previous one. In the Falcon theory, I very loosely speculated that Falcon visited Rivera, but I said not to count on it since the only evidence I had was that they both could heavily relate to each other, which is weak. But thank you to some viewer of mine who likes to have little fun debates with me in the comments, called Some Guy. Some Guy says, quote, I just want to say something. When you open the vent occasionally she says, not how I thought we'd be meeting, I take it you're my extraction, end quote. I think that's fantastic evidence. Rivera is incredibly smart. One of the most obvious ways to break her out would be the vent. With how intelligent she is, it seems she only could have been caught off guard if she was waiting for somebody else. Somebody not Phoenix to visit her. Somebody like Falcon. As much as I want to believe this still feels a tad weak for me, so I'm gonna keep it as a headcanon still. But if we can find one more piece of evidence to support this, I think it'll be enough to become a theory. Thank you so much, Some Guy. Rivera's entire stay at Halcyon was a battle. The director versus Rivera. A manipulative trickster versus an eminent genius, and the genius won. It isn't emphasized enough that Rivera is a massive Einstein, combined with her mature and strong personality, so it doesn't come off as that big of a surprise when she managed to worm her way out of the box she was encaged in. Fun fact, since we know Rivera was called for the Onyx project, I can actually pinpoint the time she joined Halcyon. Well, not exactly, but since Halcyon stole the Onyx project back in the lake house and she made defection plans 2 weeks before the scientists, then she was kidnapped and forced into her Halcyon role sometime between April 21st of 2015 and December 10th of 2016. Damn, that fast? It didn't take long for her to scrap a plan together. Realistically, if she was kidnapped December 10th of 2016, she wouldn't be able to wiretap 2 things and then organize escape in one day. It is likely that since she was the one who wiretapped Pyre, she was kidnapped around that time so she could be assigned to tap the call instead of some other analyst. It took her some time to organize her defect and call Jackdaw too. Makes sense, before she tried anything funny, she needed to establish a sense of trust. Not that she had any, more like, okay, she's been here for over a year, so she's likely not trying anything funny. Rivera has it so bad. She had everything going for her, absolutely everything. Her life was perfect. And then this happens to her. She is kidnapped by a criminal organization, and against all odds, she made it out. But with scars. Very heavy, deep scars. Summary time. Rivera was called as a consultant to do a job. However, she was unknowingly hired by Halcyon, who then kidnapped her and forced her to work on Project Onyx. The director, not wanting her to leave and frustrated at Rivera's headstrong objections, beat and scared her into submission. She actively worked on escape whilst trapped, when a very lucky opportunity arrived, the Pyre wiretap, which revealed Jackdaw's contact. After calling him and organizing her escape, she was finally free. However, there's a very small possibility that she actually could have befriended Falcon during her time as a scientist. She was obviously treated as a dog, trapped in that basement. Falcon could have seen that, related to it, and go to talk to her. But this doesn't have that much evidence, so it's not an official part of the theory. Rivera was free from the awful abuse and chains of Halcyon and the director. But even though she was set free, it'll never immediately erase the scars and trauma she went through and earned. It was confirmed that she dug up and discovered the Providence wiretap, that she was kidnapped by Halcyon somewhere between April 21st of 2015 and the latest December 10th of 2016, though most likely around May 16th of 2015. And it was also confirmed that she is a technician. And that's that. I love Rivera so much. I really like my theory on her, and I hope it's true. Maybe Dark can come back and provide more criticism until I'm right. I didn't do so much dramatic monologuing here because the first one had that covered. You did watch that first, right? If not, then I hope you didn't get lost. Everything I didn't provide evidence for is covered in the original theory time. The amount of pain, stress, determination Rivera had to witness and go through was just incredible. She is so strong and badass, and I love her. I headcanon that she acts like a big sister towards Sparrow, and that she is grateful for Rose. Would y'all believe me if I said I had a list of over 50 personal headcanons? I'll share them someday if y'all are interested. Well, see y'all.